This week on Monsters of Destruction, behind the scenes, we'll talk to the drivers of the MOD circuit to find out their thoughts on racing indoors versus a big open stadium. Also, we'll revisit Round 9 from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. But first, we'll check in with the 2 points leaders, Kreg Christensen and Paul Shafer, as they talk smack with each other about who has the fastest equipment. This should be interesting.
It's early in the season and things are bound to change before it's all over with. But right now I'm joined with the 2 point leaders, Kreg Christensen and Paul Shafer. Now, Kreg, you're pretty much maintaining the edge over everybody during this race right now. What are you going to do to maintain that edge?
Just keep doing what we're doing. Our truck right now is geared for indoors, you know, and whether it's a straight line drags or the obstacle course, it doesn't matter. Like I say, any idiot can drive fast in a straight line. It takes a real driver to be able to get around the track and, you know, make your corners. You know, and they're constantly talking about this long wheelbase of Paul Shafer's trucks. Paul's truck is 6 inches longer than my truck. So 6 inches isn't a longer wheelbase. You just need to learn to drive and get it around the track if you want to be fast.
Okay, now how long is 6 inches to you?
6 inches to me is that long.
Okay, Paul, you're more strong outside, outdoors. So what are you just trying to bide your time until you get to the outside track?
No, I've been working inside trying to get faster and faster, but these little short tracks, it's hard for my 6-inch wheelbase that's probably a foot longer than what he thinks. Plus, he's got a different axle, and his wheels will turn about 6 inches more than mine going through the corners. But when we get outside, it'll be a different story, because the Hemi, if you ain't got a Hemi, you ain't going nowhere.
What do you say to him saying that the reason why you have an edge or you're able to maintain this is because you have a longer wheelbase?
Well, I got a longer wheelbase outdoors, and I got my Hemi at a run. But indoors, my wheelbase hurts me indoors. Plus, my motor's hurting me a little bit. You know, if I could hit third gear in here, he can't touch me in there if I hit third gear.
So what are you two trying to tell me, that once you get outside, that it's going to be a whole different deal?
Oh yeah, outdoors is going to a whole different deal, and we've got a brand new 557 cubic inch Keith Black Hemi waiting to go in the truck when it goes outdoors. So your Hemi ain't going to mean squat, dude, because we'll have one. We'll see where the sun shines.
Well, the 557 ain't enough horsepower for a 575 Hemi that we dynoed, and I know it's got over 2,000 horsepower.
Do you guys do this between each other? Is it just like you build a bigger, better engine, and then he builds one, and then you build a bigger, better engine, so then it brings you to build a bigger, better engine?
Oh no, I'd much rather take a smaller motor and go out and whoop him with it. That's just like Spider-Man has the smallest motor on the circuit. It's 468 cubes. It's a little bitty motor for indoors. And that's what makes it so fast, is because it'll rev very quick and gets over the cars. But when we go outdoors, then the bigger motor does work well. But there becomes a point that too big, also because you're trying to fill a cylinder with air, that you're limited on a blower overdrive. And so I run a 575, I run a 526, and I think in the middle works the best for my combination. In Paul's combination, a bigger motor may work better. He's older, he needs the bigger motor to catch up to us younger guys.
What do you think is one of Paul's weak points with his trucks and his driving?
What's his weak point of driving? Boy, now you really want me to bash him, don't you? Probably in the turning course, his trucks don't turn as sharp as ours do. He has ZFs, and they're limited on their turning, where, I mean, our turn, but if you watch me, I pitch my truck. I try to flat track the truck through the corners, but my driving style is totally different than Paul's. Paul and I are both in the same situation. We own our trucks, we have to maintain them, we have to pay the bills. We're not a Bigfoot driver that gets paid to show up and run, and if it wrecks, we call and say, oh, Bob, we wrecked your truck, send some money. You know, Paul and I have to fix our own equipment.
Nothing against Dave Harkey.
Nothing against any of the drivers. I get along with all the Bigfoot drivers, but it's a corporate truck versus a privateer's truck, and so it is different.
Now I'm going to let you rebuttal now. What do you think is one of Craig's weak points?
Well, he weighs about 10,800 pounds. My truck weighs 9,200 pounds with me in it, so I'm probably 1,000 pounds lighter. Outdoors is going to help me. Indoors, I just can't show my horsepower. There ain't enough room to stop, you know. Maybe if I didn't have to pay for the bleachers, I'd run a little bit harder and hit the bleachers. But they told us we hit the bleachers, we're paying for it. So I need my money like Greg. You know, we're independents and we don't have the money to pay for the bleachers or pay for the trucks.
Well, thank you guys. You know, we look forward to seeing you guys really live up to your word outside.
Yeah. Well, we'll see who wins, won't we?
All right.
Hey, Billy.
The Scenes is brought to you by AmeriGas. America's largest pro paint company, and by MonsterTruckStore.com, your online source for all Monster Truck merchandise, and by Cruise and Tees, the ultimate in motorsports art. Racing inside these tight arenas is very difficult. One mistake could cause a lot of damage not only to the driver, but also to the truck. Lately, there's been a lot of talk about stadium racing being harder than racing inside arenas. Listen in, you'll find out what the MOD drivers have to say about that.
It makes you more observant and a little quicker with your reflexes because, you know, I get lazy outdoors because I don't have to get off the line fast. I mean, with the Hemi truck, you know, once you get back on the ground, you're gonna pass all the other motors like it's no big deal. But if you're racing another Hemi, you gotta worry about it, but that doesn't happen a lot. There's not a lot of Hemis out there, so you can be lazy outdoors, where indoors, you really have to be on your game and be watching that light and watching how you shift, where normally outdoors, you can just kind of take it easy. And freestyle is the same way. You have plenty of room to hit third gear and just launch it off everything. And here you got to think about how hard you hit the cars. Am I going to end up in the grandstands? I want to get a good wheelie, but you can't go too fast, you can't go too slow. And there's a little bit of finesse to it.
There's a lot of things you change between the big stadiums and the small arenas. Number one, you make a gear change in the truck. The bigger the stadium, the bigger gear you want. But you know, the big stadiums, anybody can drive in a big area. It's kind of like putting somebody in a big old Lincoln Continental and send them into a demolition derby versus sending somebody in a Chevy Chevette and say, hey, go run with the big cars. When you get into the small buildings, you go to a smaller gear. You have to be able to control the truck, especially if you're doing a turning course. In these hockey rinks, a lot of the other promoters do not do a turning course because most of their drivers can't drive. And so they can't turn the truck and they run into everything and you end up with so much building damage it's not feasible. So it takes a much better driver to compete in a small building than it ever would in a big stadium. You know, we run big stadiums as well and we do very well in the big stadiums. So all of those that say that, you know, just because we're running the small buildings and not the big stadiums, that's not true. We go to the stadiums, we win there just as well. Oh, for those guys that, you know, only run big stadiums, when they get into a smaller area, they're bouncing off the walls. You kind of have to have, you know, good hand-eye coordination and be able to swing the truck around. And if you're used to a lot of room, you have no idea where the back of your truck is when you're turning it around the corners. And so a lot of people don't have the experience of indoors. And I'm fortunate enough that I've been in the business 12 years. I came from USA Motorsports, and we did turning courses every weekend. Every show we did was a turning course. And so I have a lot of experience in the turning course, and as you well know, I shine very well in the turning course, and that's probably my forte of all of it. Is I love the turning course because any idiot can drive fast in a straight line, but it takes a driver to be able to turn the truck and get around the track.
It's so small, we can't turn. You know, it takes everything I got to turn going through the corners. If it was bigger, we wouldn't have a problem. But for this arena, I didn't think we'd have 3 in a row this small. And it's a hockey arena, and they're narrowing the cars up to keep us off the walls, and it's hard to turn. We just got to readjust the whole truck to come in and do it, or have 2 trucks, you know, have a race truck, race tires, different tires, the whole shot.
And I don't want to say this the wrong way, you have to be more cautious inside because of the building. You know, you may face building damage or you know, truck damage or anything like that. You go outdoors, you can run them harder, you've got more space, it's faster. Your reaction time has to be good outdoors, outdoors or indoors, no matter who you're running with. But outdoors, there's a little more leeway, you know. It's the equipment, you're relying more on your equipment outdoors because you've got a longer run and you can run some people down. It'll just be interesting to see whether we do, you know, a lot of turn courses or a lot of straight line or what the outdoors brings us. That's what's neat about it. I'm looking forward to it.
The small arenas are totally different because the Hemi is made to make horsepower in distance. The short tracks, sometimes too much horsepower can be difficult. And then with the short turning, you know, long wheelbase, tight turns, it can be kind of hairy. So like I said, we like the outdoor stuff, but you know, we do what we can with the indoor stuff, and they're not going to forget barefoot.
The starting's one thing, but then stopping the truck's another thing. You got a 10,000-pound machine that, you know, flat gets with it from 0 to 60. And then you got to figure out how to stop that thing or steer out of trouble or something like that. And especially for a new guy that ain't got a lot of seat time, you know, we're just going off of what we know, what we think's going to work best, and so far it's been working for us.
The MOD Tour has been heating up inside. Let's check out highlights from round 9 of Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Semi number 1 will bring Bigfoot out against Monster Patrol. Now Bigfoot driven tonight by Dave Harkey, another veteran of the monster truck wars over the last 15-20 years. So it's Bigfoot coming up. There's a good shot. What do you know about this guy?
Well, when I first started driving, Dave was actually driving Snakebite, which is another Bigfoot truck at the time. And then through the years, he moved into a Bigfoot truck, and he's a good competitor. I mean, he's always tough. I'd say the same thing as Dan. You know, they're always tough people. Unfortunately, everybody has, you know, bad breaks.
Yep. Well, here we go with Dave Harkey driving Bigfoot. It'll be a single run because Monster Patrol, Paul Shafer, is in the pits with a broken shock. They're frantically working on it, trying to repair it. So Harkey gets a free ride here. Let's see what he does as far as time goes. Straight line drag. Here's the start. A little better than before. 2.968. That's good. Monster Patrol DNF. Well, here's the tough country Hummer of Kreg Christensen, Dragon Slayer, and he's going up against Spider-Man, his stepson, Paul Jensen. Look inside the vehicles. They're both identical Hummers built north of Salt Lake City. Even starts, but it looks like Jensen. Whoa, look out. Christensen almost kisses the wall. So the win goes to Spider-Man with a 2.835 clocking. Dragon Slayer right behind him, 2.863. So Spider-Man takes the victory. The straight line final will be Bigfoot going up against Spider-Man. Paul Jensen against Bigfoot. Driving Bigfoot, it's a change. Dave Harkey coming out. Main event is coming up in the straight line drags from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. That's a look at Harkey inside Bigfoot. They line up. Spider-Man on the left part of your screen. Bigfoot, Harkey on the right. Paul Jensen right there in Spider-Man, 6'6", the big span. What's going on here, Rick?
They're testing his RII, the remote ignition interrupter. What they do is it shuts down the truck at a switch on a transmitter. If he was to get into trouble, a track official can shut the truck down. It's a safety precaution.
Right, Spider-Man on the left, Bigfoot on the right. This is the main event, straight line drag, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And the start looks to me like Bigfoot may have edged him right there at the line. Let's check the standings. It is Bigfoot. It's 2.755.
That was a close race.
That's really close. 2.797 for Jensen and Spider-Man. The win determined by hundredths of a second in Monsters of Destruction action. They head for the pits. Let's take another look at the main event. Here's a look inside the cab of Harkey. Got so much happening, so much going on. Another look at it from the overhead camera.
Dave just gets the jump on him.
Yeah, he did. A beautiful start for Harkey, and right there you go, right there. Harkey just literally hundredths of a second in front of him. So the straight line drag results. Round number 9, Bigfoot takes it, Spider-Man second, Dragon Slayer, Monster Patrol, Kevin Harvick, and Samson finishing last in straight line drags. Let's take a look at the standings. After round number 9, Dragon Slayer 188, Monster Patrol, Bigfoot, Spider-Man, and Kevin Harvick. Let's go down to the field and Raquel Gardner.
still scares me. Dave, congratulations.
Thank you very much. I tell you what, first off, I got to say thank you to Ford, Firestone, Mac Tools, all our great sponsors. If it wasn't for them, we couldn't be out here doing this every weekend.
No, I hear you. Now tell me, what was going on out there?
I tell you, Paul's a tough competitor. I just had to get my head together, and I knew I had to be early on the light. He's young, and these young guys have a good reaction times, and I knew I had to do something.
Yeah, but you know what? You're a veteran in the business. You've been around all these guys, young and old. You know how to deal with them.
Yeah, I tell you, I can just give credit back to everybody back at the shop. I might be the guy that's lucky enough to drive it, but they're the ones that build it and put it under me, and it's just you got to give them all the credit. They're the ones that put this thing together.
Well, yeah, but you're not that bad either. You got to drive this thing.
I had the fun part.
You do have the fun. Now, we've got the Chicago-style racing coming up when you said that's your specialty.
It's my favorite. I'd rather do roundy around the straight line. I love the horsepower, but you know what? I like to throw a little driver skill in there, too.
All right, well, we look forward to seeing you. Thanks a lot. Dave Harkey, everybody. Bigfoot.
MonsterTruckStore.com, your online source for monster truck merchandise. If you can't make it to the races, log on to MonsterTruckStore.com, featuring everything from die-cast toys to hats, t-shirt, and other apparel. It's your one-stop shop for everything Monster Truck. If it has anything to do with monster trucks, you can find it at MonsterTruckStore.com. From Barefoot to Bigfoot, Monster Patrol to Dragon Slayer, all the best monster truck merchandise is just a click of the mouse away. So what are you waiting for? Go online and go to MonsterTruckStore.com, your online source for monster truck merchandise.
Behind the Scenes is brought to you by AmeriGas, America's largest propane company, and by MonsterTruckStore.com, your online source for all monster truck merchandise, and by Cruise and Tees, the ultimate in motorsports art.
Bigfoot against Spider-Man. Well, there's a good look at Dave Harkey, and his helmet is corresponding with the colors of his truck.
Yeah, it's the flag truck. It's a really good truck. It gets a lot of publicity, all patriotic and whatnot.
There's a look from the outside.
It's got the Statue of Liberty on the hood.
And here we go with Spider-Man, Paul Jensen. This is semi number 1. The winner will get a ticket to ride in the main event. What's he doing now?
Well, he's out there strutting and stuff. You got to remember, Paul's been doing really good this year. He's got a lot of wins underneath his belt, so let Bigfoot go out, let him announce it as the superstar and whatnot. Now it's time for the kid to come out, strut his stuff, and let everybody see who he is.
A little psychological game playing, eh, Mr. Swanson?
That's called being a good driver.
I see. Here we go with Spider-Man. That's Paul Jensen. He's on the left side of your screen. On the right side is Bigfoot, inside camera. That's Harkey driving Bigfoot. He backs up to get set. Longer course, extended course tonight. First time we've seen this. Rick Swanson, you like it?
Oh, yeah, I think it's a much better course to run on. The longer the course, the better as far as I'm concerned.
Spider-Man on the right, Harkey on the left. They go with the two cars.
Dave takes a pretty hard bounce right there.
Spider-Man looking awfully good. Oh, a problem. What happened there, Rick Swanson?
Got into the corner a little too soon, so he had to correct. And then he had to square off the corner rather than making it a complete U.
That's going to cost him time, and he was leading earlier.
Right there cost him time. The front end lifted up, and then the back end split around.
Well, the Bigfoot will take the victory. 21.866 seconds, almost 2 seconds, actually over 2 seconds behind him is Spider-Man, 23.964. Well, here we go with semi number 2. This will be Dragon Slayer. Dragon Slayer set to go up against Samson. A problem earlier with Samson. What happened, Rick? What did he break?
Broke his front sway bar, which allowed it to lean too much, so he couldn't get around the corners.
And they've not got the machine ready yet, so it's going to be a single run for Kreg Christensen and Dragon Slayer, the tough country suspension Hummer out of Utah. Single run.
I'm sure Dan will be back for freestyle. Dan has more parts, and he knows what to do with in his trailer. I like racing with him because if I break anything, that's a good thing about having a Patrick truck. I know I can go get parts from him.
So Dragon Slayer comes out. It's Kreg Christensen, the tough, cocky little guy out of Utah, just north of Salt Lake City. He loves to win. Let's see what he can do in this single run. Again, it's an advantage. You don't have any pressure, right?
Well, see, he's already done first round 1, so he's got you know, the confidence behind them. In the first round, got to see, well, I didn't do this corner just quite right, so let me try it doing it this way because I can't lose, I'm running myself. So this is a huge advantage going into the finals.
So he'll go directly to the main event after this because he's the only one that ran this semi. Bigfoot or Sampson was not able to run. Okay, Dragon Slayer 22, not too bad, 22.339 seconds, and Sampson did not start. This is the main event, Chicago style, Dragon Slayer against Bigfoot. Kreg Christensen against Dave Harkey in his first appearance this year in Monsters of Destruction. There's Harkey right there. Here's a start. Extended track, which Rick Swanson likes very much. No problem so far for Christensen. Doesn't look like it, right, Rick
He's
Swanson?
flat tracking pretty good.
Slipping and sliding through the mud, the blood, and the beer. And Christensen wheelies over the cars to celebrate it. He won it. Dragon Slayer takes the victory with a 20.92 clocking. Bigfoot right behind him, 21.904. So the Chicago style results: Dragon Slayer, Bigfoot, Spider-Man, Sampson, Monster Patrol, and Kevin Harvick here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And the point standings after 9. Dragon Slayer 202, Bigfoot, Monster Patrol, Monster Moose, and Spider-Man rounding out the top 5 after round 9. Let's go down to Raquel Gardner on the floor. Raquel?
Let's let him get his helmet off. I always know Kreg is in for some surprises. He gives us some great shows. Congratulations.
Thanks. Like I say, I heard him announcing that I had competition here this weekend. You know what? I have a competition every weekend, but I don't care who it is. If I have to step my game up a little bit, to win it, I win it. I love the roundy round course. I don't care if it's Chicago style, J race, Winston Salem race, whatever they want to call it. I come here for one reason. I come here to win.
Well, that about does it for this week's Monsters of Destruction Behind the Scenes. Remember, there are men, there are machines, and then there's Monsters of Destruction. This week on Monsters of Destruction Behind the Scenes, we'll visit with Dave Harkey, the other driver for the Bigfoot team. Then it's off to Winston-Salem, North Carolina. The season's almost to the halfway point and things are heating up. But that's not all. We'll also have some awesome freestyle action. A few weeks ago, Milestone Motorsports announced that the series is going outdoors. With the summer heating up, it's time to get out of the arenas and head to the great outdoors where the action's going to be spectacular. We talked to the MOD gang about their feelings on heading outdoors and how their season's been going so far.